Um, I have guests on this podcast quite often, military experts, when we talk about the conflict going on in Gaza. And when we talk about the current ceasefire that's there, a number of guests have expressed concerns that the Zionist state has a history of weaseling out of any peace treaties. And actually, they have a history of trying to assassinate the negotiators for peace or for ceasefires. So, with that history in mind, how likely do you think it is that the ceasefire will
I'm sorry,
continue?
your voice I cannot hear very well. Can you speak louder
I'm so
or come
sorry.
closer to the microphone?
I'm so sorry. Let me just get a bit closer. Yes, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yes. So I was saying that, like, so a number of my guests have expressed concerns that the Zionist state has a history of weaseling out of ceasefires, deals, negotiations, and actually they have a history of trying to assassinate peacekeepers, peacemakers, negotiators. So with that in mind, how likely do you think this ceasefire is to continue? And a lot of my guests have raised concerns that maybe the next step for the Zionist state will be to try to now turn its attention towards the West Bank to annex more land from there. What do you think, living in the West Bank?
Well, I'm also, in addition to being a biologist and a medical geneticist, I'm an amateur historian. I like to read history and study history and judge on things based on history, whether the history of the Zionists or history of other colonial powers. If we take the United States, for example, the European colonizers came to North America. They slowly took it over, as you know, started in the East Coast and spread to the West Coast, and then to Hawaii and Puerto Rico and other areas. And they made over 300 quote unquote peace agreements with the indigenous people of the US of North America at the time. They broke every single one of those agreements. That's typical of colonizers. Colonizers have a goal, and it's very clear. You don't have to be a scientist to understand what their goal is. They want the land without the people. That's it. So they want the land. They don't want the indigenous people. They don't even want the land as it was. They even reshape its ecology. They bring invasive species. They destroy indigenous trees. They change river courses. They want to recreate something they left in Europe. That's where most colonizers come from in history. So that's indeed what they try to do, is reshape the country, and that's their goal. And their goal is very, very clear, and it's not ambiguous. The tactics of signing ceasefire or not signing a ceasefire, these are tactics, and they will do it interim when they feel they have to do it. But once the conditions are ripe again, they want to do more ethnic cleansing and more genocide. This is typical of all colonialists, be it Europeans in what became Australia or New Zealand, or what became the United States, or all of Latin America, all of the world, actually. The Europeans were in every country on earth. South Africa with the Dutch and the British colonizers. They didn't want South Africa with the Zulus. They wanted the Zulus stuck in what's called Bantustans, and that's it. And they want them out of the way so that they can take the rest of the land, the good lands, the water, the gold mines, everything else. The same with the Zionist colonizers. And I analyze things, as I said, in an objective way, not necessarily good, bad, or evil. I just think, you can analyze things as they are presented, as you have the data for them and what happened. So, to answer your question about this particular ceasefire, I really don't know. There's a 50-50 chance that Netanyahu will go back to war after he claims victory by releasing some of the prisoners of war that Hamas has taken. And releasing some Palestinians, and go back and rearrest those Palestinians, because that has happened in the past. They make deals and they break them. They have the power, and might makes right, as in his logic and the logic of the government of the Zionist movement.
Martin, I think it is amazing that being in the situation that you are, your people are, how you can have such like an objective view, but also a broader view where you're not just looking at the situation in Palestine, but you're also concerned about freedom struggles, whether it's Latin America, what happened in South Africa or New Zealand, Australia. And I think that kind of that objective analysis is it gives a person clarity, and it also kind of helps understand things a lot better. So when I listen to you talk, it is very kind of heartening to, in a way, because when you see things in a bigger picture, it just things make a bit more sense. With that, hey there. I hope you're enjoying this episode. Let me just take a moment to introduce our sponsors for today. This episode is kindly being sponsored by the Worldwide Listings Company Limited, or WLC for short. WLC is a complete A to Z Amazon account management service. So if you're looking to start an e-commerce business, or you already have a business that you want to take to the next level, then get in touch and WLC will be able to help. Just for transparency purposes, let me also mention that WLC is a company that I personally created and am a director of. So when you get in touch with WLC, you will be speaking with directly myself or my team, and we very much look forward to speaking with you to see how we can serve your needs. Thank you. And with that said, let's get back to the episode.